What's the easiest choice you can make? Window instead of middle seat? Picking a vendor who sends a great gift basket? Outsourcing business tasks you hate? What about selling with Shopify? Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell at every stage of your business. From the launch your online shop stage to the first real-life store stage, all the way to the did we just hit a million orders stage. Shopify's there to help you grow. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell. Wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/try. Go to shopify.com/try now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/try.
Save on O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner. Get 2 cans of O'Reilly Brake Parts Cleaner for just $8. Valid in-store only at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You're listening to the Think Unbroken podcast, and I'm your host, Michael Unbroken. I'm an author, speaker, coach, and advocate for adult survivors of childhood trauma and abuse. In this podcast, you will learn how to transform your trauma into triumph, turn breakdowns into breakthroughs, and go from victim to being the hero of your own story. You can learn more at thinkunbrokenpodcast.com, and of course, check us out on Apple Podcasts and Spotify at Think Unbroken Podcast. Hey, what's up, Unbroken Nation? Hope that you are doing well wherever you are in the world today. Super excited to be back with you with another episode. And today I want to talk to you about something near and dear to my heart, and that is mentorship, and why I have mentors, plural, and why it's been probably the most important decision that I've ever made in my life to invest in myself and to really put myself in a position to be successful by doing the thing that I'm always telling you, and that is to look for the people who are simply one step ahead of you and to follow course, learn, grow, change. And so when I go back and I look at my history, I look at my life, being a little kid, the only thing I ever wanted, I think about this all the time. The only thing I ever wanted as a little kid was a father. I wanted someone to teach me. I wanted someone to show me the ropes, to help me understand not only what it meant to be a boy, but to be a man, and to guide me and to help me through this process of creating and building a life. And I didn't have that. And so my mentors when I was young, they were library books. You know, I've said it jokingly in passing. I used to spend all my time in the library because they had air conditioning. And in part that's true, but also it was because I could get all of this information. I could just go and read these books. I would read about athletes. I would read about celebrities. I'd read about people who were real life people, you know, and I've said this before, I never really had any interest in fiction. Even to this day, I struggle through it, but I started learning at a very young age to educate myself. And I found so much power and so much benefit through books. And so that slowly transformed and went into music. And I started listening, and I've mentioned this before, to people like Jay-Z, and just feeling like there's lessons in these lyrics, there's lessons in these songs, there's something for me to take from this. And so I would sit down, I would just kind of take a meaning and understanding, go, okay, can I process this? Can I learn from it? And in part, you know, I've said this before, Jay-Z is my hero, right? And that's not in this that's not in a figurative sense, it's in a literal sense. And the reason why is because I go, that's a point of measurement for possibility. So here's what I think about very often. When I was in that window of 18 to 21 years old, when I was trying to figure out how to make $100,000 a year legally, because I didn't want to go to prison, I didn't want to get murdered. It was very, very important that I held to this. I started going deep into this idea that the only way that I'm going to create actual success in my life is I'm going to have to go and get a job that I'm underqualified for, that I can sell myself enough on to get hired for, that I can then go and learn skills from the person who hires me to help me become better. Now, at that time, the logic was very simple. Okay, what do I have to do? Maybe I can go get a job working in a management position somewhere. Because the only thing that made sense to me at that time was like, I need a job where I can see the roadmap towards money. And that job for me initially, so I worked a bunch of dead-end jobs, and I finally landed this position working for a fast food restaurant. And my general manager there, when I was in training, was amazing. And this guy taught me so much. And then they put me into a store. It was the number one busiest store in all of Indianapolis, where we were literally doing like $10,000 a day in cheeseburger and fries. I mean, the amount of human foot traffic and consumption that came through this place was unbelievable. But I had my manager, the general manager of that store, as I was an assistant, was absolutely profound in the way that I think about my life today, because she taught me lessons the hard way. And what I mean by that, it's not that she wasn't supportive, but the way that I had to learn was from really paying attention to the intricacies of the mistakes that I was making. And when she would follow up with me, she was literally coaching me. Now, go back to being 18 years old. That it didn't feel like coaching. It felt like ridicule, because I was making mistakes. I didn't know how to deal with this thing around the idea of perfection and having people go, that was a mess up and things like that. I had a lot of armor on. And in retrospect, looking at and measuring that, I go, man, the lessons I learned there were so profound, because she let me fail. And when I did fail, she would sit me down and guide me through it, start to finish, and help me understand why that happened. And that was so incredibly profound for me, because it taught me how to think critically. Well, fast forward a couple more years, I'm like, all right, I'm going to dead end in fast food. I could see it coming. I was working 60 hours a week. I was exhausted. All of my money was gone because I was living by myself. Well, I was living with roommates, but I was paying rent, had a car payment, the whole nine. And I was like, okay, I'm not going to make it at 30 grand a year or whatever I was making. So I was like, okay, what's next? Trying to think about elevation, going to the next level. And I land this job with this Fortune 10 company, and I start making all this money. And this was the point where I stopped having mentors. So from 21 to 25 and a half, let's call it 26, I was under no tutelage. I was under no mentorship. I was under no guidance. I was going about the world in this very nonchalant way, just thinking that I had it all figured out. Now, obviously that wasn't the case. You know my backstory. My 20s were insane. Lots of drugs, alcohol, women, clothes, money being spent, that whole nine. Because I didn't have, again, going back to being a child, like I just wanted somebody to guide me. I wanted someone to teach me. And so I thought I had it figured out because I hit my goal. Well, lo and behold, this gap of time, this 4 or 5 years, was the most tumultuous and devastating years of my life. If I had a redo, I would absolutely, no questions asked, go and get a coach during that period of time.
Hey, Unbroken Nation, we'll be right back to the show, but I wanted to let you know that you can grab a copy of my first book, Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma, for free. If you go to book.thinkunbroken.com, you can download the PDF ebook version of the book and get everything that I know about the baseline of healing trauma for free, downloaded to your email right now. Just go to book.thinkunbroken.com to download your copy of Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma for a PDF for your phone. Again, that is book.thinkunbroken.com.
And so fast forward a few years later, I'm going through the healing process. I'm thinking about this idea of getting coaching, and I'd been spending a lot of time. We'll be right back to the show, but I want to tell you about today's sponsor, Babbel. I have been using them to help me with their convenient courses learn real-life conversation skills in different languages. As you may know, one of the things that I do to relieve the stress of life is I love to get on an airplane and go travel to another place to have an adventure and learn more about myself. And with Babbel, it's been so easy to learn how to do things like ask for directions and order food and talk to merchants. And most importantly, really be able to tap into life while on vacation or working abroad. And so here's a special limited time deal for our listeners only. Right now, you can get up to 60% off a Babbel subscription if you go to babbel.com/unbroken. It's 60% off at babbel.com/unbroken. That's BABBEL.com/unbroken. Keep in mind, rules and restrictions may apply. And if you're anything like me, and you want to learn another language, convenience is your best friend. So check this out. I'm looking forward to hearing about your adventures and your travels. I'm, as someone who's an entrepreneur, like reading all these business books, going to the seminars, watching the YouTube videos, really diving deep into a lot of the content that existed. And one of the things that I realized when I was going through that is like, oh, this is actually a form of mentorship. I'm learning here. Sometimes when I'm lucky enough to be in connection with these people in a real way, I'm taking away so much information. I'm gathering so much data. I'm learning so many lessons from the people who are directly in front of where I want to go. And so I would be copious, notebooks upon notebooks upon notebooks. And in fact, it's funny, I just finished coaching. And if you're watching, you'll see this red notebook in my hand tabbed out. And it's full of notes from tonight where I just finished a coaching session with one of my business coaches. And the truth is when I rewind and I'm in the midst of like this healing journey at the beginning, I'm trying to figure this thing out called life. It was the mentorships that I had when I could be in connection with these people, when I could read their books, when I could study their work, where I could watch their video series, where I could go to their conference, where I could ask them a question because I raised my hand in the room, that I started getting the most value returned in my life. And there was an investment in that. I say this all the time: time, effort, energy, money, team. You're going to have to invest something. You're going to have to invest something to have the life that you want to have and to work with the people who are around you. And the truth is that sometimes what you're going to have to invest is time, effort, energy, and money. And so as I got further and deeper into this and into the healing journey, into this place where I was elevating my life, I was working with different coaches. I was working with different mentors. I was hiring different people. I was investing myself in different people so I could grow. And I've been fortunate enough to work with some of the most incredible mentors, business owners, coaches, life coaches on planet Earth. And I'm not going to name drop, but the point is this: it wasn't always like that. It was a struggle at first because they would be like, it's $500, $1,500, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000, $25,000 to get coaching. And I was like, okay, cool. How do I get there? Because here's the truth. The measurement for how I think about investing in myself is where am I at today, right now? And I do have the fortunate ability of being able to invest in myself at a higher number. But I remember when I didn't have two pennies to rub together. I remember borrowing money from my girlfriend. I remember like selling everything I owned to hire my first coach. I remember going through these processes to figure this out. I remember this feeling of just joy in knowing I was making the right decision for myself. People get on the fence all the time about coaching. They're like, I know this will make my life better, but money, right? I'm going to tell you this. One of my mentors teaches me every single day: commit first and figure out the rest later. Why does that matter? Because we get caught up in the intangibles. We get caught up in this idea that we need the immediate return on investment. We get caught up in the idea that if I give somebody $5 or $5 million, I expect something back immediately. And what I've adapted in my life is, what price do I have to pay to have the life that I want to have? If that meant that I had to sell everything that I owned, I would do it again. Like without hesitation, I would do it again. I would sell everything I owned. I would get another job. I would do whatever it took to get to this place where I could be on this trajectory forward and creating the life that I want to have. And so what I want you to think about in this is this question: what are you willing to do to have the life that you want to have? Mentorship comes in many forms. It's books, it's audios, right? It's YouTube. It's courses online that are $7, $9, $27, $97. That all counts. Don't get caught up in this idea that, and look, there are coaches, they charge $100,000 for a weekend. Some of these people are my friends. Like I know what they do in their business, and they're hard hitters in the space that they're in, whether it's business or entrepreneurship or whatever. And people get caught up on that. They're like, I don't have $100,000. I don't either. I get it. But I have 4 hours of time and I have a library card. Like, I'm not even joking right now. All of the books in my phone right now, most of them, let's call it 91%, are from the library, right? They literally are right now from the library. Don't get caught up on this money thing. There's always a way to make money, but investing in yourself is everything. So go and read the book. Have the late fee. Who gives a shit? Get the audio. Go to the online seminar. Pay the $97. You don't have a $97 problem in your life. $97 isn't the problem. You have to be thinking about bigger problems. Why can't I show up for myself? Why am I stuck? Why do I feel this way? Why can't I seem to create momentum? Why can't I hold myself accountable? Why can't I do these things? Those are the problem. That's what the investment is for. The ROI is moving through the other side of that and saying, got it. My life is different, right? Don't get caught up in money, because there's always a way. There's always a way to create massive change in your life and have mentorship and have support. And as someone today who looks at this as a must, I have fitness coach, life coach, health coach, business coach. I have a voice coach, and I have, oh my gosh, I just totally drew a blank. I'm so sorry. I'm mindset coach. Why? Because the biggest thing that I want to do is make sure I have support in all the areas of my life where I always wanted them. All I ever wanted was support. And you know this, if you're listening to this show, that sometimes we weren't lucky enough to get it, but you have the ability to build it. And so maybe today it's a podcast, maybe today it's a book, maybe today it's an online conference, maybe in 3 years it's a small group program, and then in 10 years it's one-on-one, and then it's masterminds, it's all those other things. Mentorship can be in a song, it can be in a book, it can be in a lyric, it can be in an Instagram post, it can be anywhere, but you have to be willing to find it. You have to be willing to invest your time, effort, energy, or money. And when you do, the return, man, there's no limit. So Unbroken Nation, I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope this fired you up and inspired you. Grab that library card. It's still free. Go get it. I use it every day. Go and put yourself first. Take care of what you need to take care of. Build the life that you want to build. And until next time, my friends, be unbroken. I'll see you.
Thank you so much for listening to Think Unbroken. Please share this episode with someone who could use it and help us move forward in our mission of ending generational trauma in our lifetime. And if you would, please take 5 seconds to pop on iTunes or Spotify, hit that 5-star, leave a review, and you can also reach out to us on social at Michael Unbroken or at Think Unbroken. And of course, you can check out our YouTube channel at Think Unbroken. Thank you for being a part of Unbroken Nation, my friends. And until next time, be unbroken. We'll be right back to today's show, but before we do, I want to let you know that you can get a free copy of my first book, Think Unbroken, Understanding and Overcoming Childhood Trauma, when you leave a review for the podcast on Apple Podcast, either on desktop or on your phone. All you have to do is go to Apple Podcasts, look up Think Unbroken, click follow in the top right, and then go and leave a review at the bottom. And when you leave that review, screenshot it and send it over to book.thinkunbroken.com, where you can upload your contact and mailing information, and we will send you a free copy of this award-winning best-selling book, absolutely free, including shipping. Just go to book.thinkunbroken.com to upload your screenshot review from Apple Podcasts for the Think Unbroken podcast. And until next time, my friend, be unbroken. I'll see ya.